And more this Thursday over the Middle East. The latest exchanges of fire by Israel and Iran, raising the possibility of an American entry into the conflict. A hospital hit by an Iranian missile in Beersheba in the south of Israel. Miraculously, no reported fatalities at this facility. And this led Israel's defense minister using threatening words against Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Israel Katz said in the light of this strike on a hospital, Khamenei, and I quote the words of Israel Katz, can no longer be allowed to live. Catherine Norris Trent is our reporter who's been to the scene of the hospital strike. She joins us now live. Catherine, a very good evening to you. Tell us about what you saw there, tell us about the reaction, and tell us what people in Israel are saying.
Good evening to you, Mark, and to all our viewers. We drove down to the Beersheba Soroka Hospital, which is actually the biggest hospital in the Negev region of southern Israel. And there we saw the aftermath of a direct hit. Clearly a very big detonation, several buildings destroyed, rubble everywhere. Many of the facilities unusable. We were told by the hospital management that actually patients have been transferred out of the worst hit ward just the day before, and many of them have been transferred into what were storage lots, basically underground, underneath the hospital, a couple of floors down, and they've also airlifted some patients away to other parts of Israel. Many hospitals across Israel, we should say, have been making emergency provisions in light of the ongoing missile strikes from Iran, some of which get through Israel's air defenses. So that was the physical impact. But in terms of the political, the diplomatic impact, I think that could end up being quite profound indeed. One Israeli official I spoke to off the record said, this changes everything. They've targeted our civilian infrastructure. Iran said it was targeting military targets. There is an Israeli military base, but a couple of kilometers away, we're told, so not at that site itself. And then we saw a succession of Israeli politicians coming down, high up figures. The Israeli president, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, then we had the foreign minister, the defense minister, and the list goes on. And they were all expressing their outrage and saying that this could be a game changer and that they will hit Iran back hard. And I'm sure that's something they're going to be using not only to communicate about with their population, but also with the Americans.
I was at a briefing last night with Iran's ambassador. He underlined the fact that he says Iran doesn't target civilian infrastructure. And clearly what we're seeing here clearly raises another question, doesn't it? Catherine, can you throw some light onto the fortunate result that there are no casualties in this? I mean, clearly it seems miraculous that nobody was hurt.
Basically, a lot of the patients had already been transferred into other areas or underground. And a lot of Israelis are very strictly heeding the advice of the authorities here to get to a shelter whenever an air raid alert goes off. So everyone has this app installed on their phone which sends off an alarm when there's incoming Iranian missile fire, which the Israelis are able to monitor very successfully. And so people really do get to the bunkers, they rush down, they get underground. I think that is what we're seeing behind some of I mean, there were, 70 people lightly injured, but there weren't fatalities at the hospital. Then you've got Israel's air defenses, which are formidable. And of course, other places in the Middle East, such as Iran, such as Gaza, don't have the same ability to shoot down the missiles from the sky. So that is actually causing a lot of the interceptions that we've been seeing, rather than seeing direct missile strikes as well.
Catherine, since the turn of the year, we've been reporting on the split within Israeli society and pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu regarding his position, regarding the hostages in Gaza, regarding not enough being done to get them free, regarding the military campaign. And we were led to believe that there is a real crisis there. Has that been changed by what Iran has done? Are we seeing perhaps a different reaction from people in Israel?
It's so interesting because even people, and I'm talking members of the public here, who were adamantly against the way that Israel's military action in Gaza has dragged on. Lots of people here are starting to raise concerns on the left here in Tel Aviv. They say that they largely agree with attacking Iran, those that we've spoken to as well, and that's backed up by the latest opinion polls showing that over 80% of Jewish Israelis really do support Israel attacking targets in Iran. So I think it has yet again given wind in the sails of Benjamin Netanyahu, but opinion polls showing that people think that he's doing a good job. Make no mistakes, though, that divisions still exist, despite this, for the moment, this concentration on what many Israelis see as an existential threat. I think if this goes on for a few more weeks, as perhaps it may do, now that the White House has signaled that they want to give diplomacy perhaps another last chance, then divisions could re-emerge. And, talking about Gaza, that is an issue. There are obviously the hostage families, but there are some people within Israel who think that enough is enough and that Israel needs an exit strategy there, and they're increasingly worried. I just also want to remind our viewers, we are not permitted by Israel to go and report inside Gaza. So I know there are lots of reports of strikes on Gazan hospitals and footage, terrible footage coming out of there. Israel says it's targeting Hamas and terrorist infrastructure, but we've obviously seen a lot of people dying there. We're not able to get to the ground to go and film those strikes ourselves.
Catherine Norris Trent, thank you very much indeed for giving us that analysis and that take on the situation, and of course that report on the strike on the hospital there in the Negev region of Israel. We're keeping across all developments on the situation between Israel and Iran, but also, as Catherine was telling us, on the situation in the Gaza Strip.